Howdy, Possum Patty, and little Miss Stinky Winky Woos is here today. Yes. As soon as I came in here, she was banging on the door. She wanted to come in. All right, did you say meow to everybody? Okay, you can get down now. Wow. What I am doing right now is just a page in my flower-shaped journal. So I'm hoping you will come on along. You may remember the other day I started this pretty pink page about my Birds of Hope project. And I had made these tags with the pink ribbons and the yellow feathers, but I hadn't done any journaling. And behind the picture of bird number 1, I wrote the little story of the Birds of Hope are made from fabric scraps and slow stitched. They are made with love and are meant to be given away with the hope that they will bring a smile to someone's face. Now this bird went to Plainfield, Connecticut, and number 2 bird went to Scarborough Beach in Rhode Island, and number 3 bird went to Norwich, Connecticut. So I wanted to make a little nest, sort of like a pocket, little nest for the bird, for the paper bird that I had done over here, just to show that I had pictures of the fabric ones, but I wanted to show the paper one that I had made on there too. So I have this little bag that I had put together for stitching the birds because my sew-to-go bag is just very big. It's a Vera Bradley pocketbook, and I have a lot of supplies in here because my slow stitch just because book is pretty big. So I wanted to be sure I could fit this in there along with, ample supplies to work on this slow stitch book, which is also made from a Vera Bradley pocketbook. I made this from a Vera Bradley pocketbook, and I'm working on some pages back here. But I wanted something a little smaller that I could just fit in my pocketbook to work on the birds, because the fabric birds are much, much smaller and flatter, and I didn't need as many supplies just to make this simple little bird out of a strip of material. So I got together this little bag and, one small scissors, a little bit of embroidery floss. I've got this container. I put magnets on the inside so when I'm in the car I won't drop my needles. And these are the little beads that I'm making eyeballs out of. So you don't need much. But I had this little bag of scraps, and in the car when Mr. Possum was driving, and I'm just stitching away. These are very easy to make. I was throwing all the, ends of this thread and the little pieces of material, scraps. So all my garbage, all my trash was going into this little bag so I wasn't getting it all over the car. So I came home and I cleaned this out, and I was like, aha, now I have something to make a nest out of. So you can see the little scraps of fabric and the little pieces of embroidery thread. And I had some of this shiny thread in this little jar, which has more scraps in it. These are my at-home embroidery floss scraps. And I can reach in here if I need a little piece of embroidery thread, or just if I want to use it in some kind of fiber art. I just kind of, mushed it down and spread it out with my fingers. And then I started stitching on the back, trying to hold everything down. So I think I think I was going this way and then I started going this way. So I've got to go this way a little bit more. And I have some buttons that I want to sew down too. Don't lose my bird because my bird's got to go off in the mail. I did get one little bird off in the mail today. And I'm getting a couple more ready to go. And the back of this is quite a mess. So I think what's going to happen is that I might glue this down to a piece of cardstock to make the pocket, because it was really hard sewing sewing all those different threads down. And as you can see, I pulled some of the ones from the front around, and you know, I made quite a mess on the back, but that's okay. We are not worried about that. I am just going to put some running stitches right across. And again, all I did was, you know, like take a handful of it, only it had, you know, like little pieces of material in it, and just kind of spread it out like this, and then just start sewing. So basically they're right there, another bird nest. It's as easy as that. Although a lot of birds are a lot neater with their nests. Some are amazing with their nests. Birds never cease to amaze me. Mr. Possum found a nest over in the side yard, and I think it was a robin's nest. Because robins tend to pack mud around the edge of the nest. If you've ever seen like a Baltimore Oriole's nest, those are quite amazing. Okay, I just did a really quick run and stitch back and forth, and now I am sewing on just a couple of buttons for added texture and fun. And some birds, they'll pick up anything. They'll pick up anything and weave it into their nest. I've seen birds nest with ribbons and pieces of plastic and, you know, any kind of colorful, fun, plasticky thing that they find around. Garbage, unfortunately, right? Plastic gets into everything, even into bird nests. And when I lived on the farm in Pennsylvania, always the little birds, I think it was the wrens, made these little woven nests from the long hairs of my horse's tail. So I don't know how they got those, if they sat on the back of the horse and plucked it out, or or what they did. I don't know how they got the hairs, and they took the horse hairs and they wove it into these little nests. I am interrupting myself with a bird nest correction here. It is the chipping sparrow that builds the little nest lined with the horsehair. And you can see the black, I hope you can see the black hairs here. These are from my horse's tail, Corey. I had on the farm. Now, Corey passed a few years back, but I still have the nest that is made with her horsehair. So this very loosely woven real nest was made by a chipping sparrow, and it is lined on the inside to make it soft and cushy for the babies with, I don't know, it could be mane. It could be a piece of mane or a piece of tail the sparrow has used to line the nest. Fascinating stuff, fascinating stuff. So one of the most amazing bird nest stories that I have, and this is one of the most amazing sights that I've ever seen in my life, was on my trip to Costa Rica. I'll probably have to tell this again when I'm working on my Frida Kahlo Little Golden Book, right? And talking about the trip to Costa Rica. But when I was in college for environmental education, one of the courses that we had took us to the primary rainforest in Costa Rica, and this is called La Selva, and they have a research station there. We got to stay at the research station, and we went out every day into the rainforest, and we studied different things. And one day we were, I don't know, deep in the jungle somewhere. We had a guide, of course. We weren't out there by ourselves. And we came to this river, and the fellows wanted to jump in the river and take a swim. Well, I think everybody did, really. And so our guide, you know, he was a local. And he warned us. He said, you know, if you got a tinkle, don't do it in the river, because when you open your sphincter to do a little tinkle in the water, he said, there's bacteria in the water that can actually swim up inside you. And he said, you know, it's quite dangerous. So a couple of us girls, you know, we had to like, okay, what do we do now? And he's like, oh, just go back over there. There are no bathrooms in the jungle. So, sorry, my thread is being weird here. Here we go. There are no bathrooms in the jungle. So, he said, there's a path over there, and you know, goes around the trees, and there's a little clearing. And he said, oh, you'll be fine. I said, oh, okay. So a couple of us went over together, of course, and we went around the trees and down the path, and there was this clearing, huge clearing. And in the center of this clearing was a huge tree, all by itself in the center of this clearing. And hanging off of this tree, off of like every branch, was a bird's nest. And it's kind of like shaped like a gourd, kind of a woven nest, like a Baltimore Oreo. So here was this gourd and shaped nest hanging off this branch and kind of swinging back and forth. And all you could see of the bird was this like yellow golden tail. And there were so many on this tree. I'm telling you, it was like one of the most amazing sights I have ever seen in my life. Just clearing with this big tree with these gorgeous nests hanging from like every branch. It was decorated like a Christmas tree. And then these big birds with these bright yellow tails, and the nests were swinging back and forth, and all you could see was the yellow or gold colored tail of the bird swinging back and forth at the bottom of the nest. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll never see this again in my life, and probably not many people ever get to see this in their life. It was amazing. So we did our little tinkles, and then we went back to the group, and we're telling the leader, Pablo, about, you know, what we saw, because we didn't know what it was. And he said, those are oropendola. Hard to describe. I guess you had to be there. But it was amazing. Amazing. There were a lot of bird watchers in the rainforest there. You know, we came upon several groups that had their scopes out and stuff. And of course, scientists. Okay, one more button. And I think that'll be enough. So one more button, and then I'm going to glue this down. Well, I was just putting my needle away and pushed everything over to the side, and I found this little piece of trim, and I think I had left it on the table because I had an idea that I would stick it on the nest, and then I forgot about it. So maybe because I had a little bit white over there that I wanted to extend the edge of the nest. I used a very irregular piece of muslin. Look at that. It was just a scrap. It was just sitting here like this. So I really didn't cut it into a nest shape at all. I just left it the way it was because this is a scrappy nest. So maybe I wanted it to stick out a little bit more on the edge here. Well, birds of hope are not known for making neat nests. They are known for collecting shiny bits and adding them on, but sort of in a haphazard fashion. Well, I'd say that was a pretty fancy nest, don't you? And all I did was take a little piece of cardstock, and I think I need to glue that down. So I'm going to use this Beacon foam and poster board adhesive. This is Beacon. It's like Fabri-Tac. The only thing I don't like about this, it's very thick and gumpy. Very thick and gumpy. Or maybe I just don't use it up fast enough. I don't know. Let's get this on here. I'm just going to stick that down on there. All right, where's my needle minder? This is my needle minder. It's a magnet. You can just leave it on your table and drop your needle on it. Oh my gosh. Isn't that so cute? I love it. Look at that nest. Oh my gosh. Is that not the cutest thing ever? It is so wonky, but I think the little bird's gonna love it. So I need that glue back again, and I am just gonna glue around the edge. I wasn't sure how this was gonna come out. No expectations, right? Now I'm gonna put a little of this Beacon glue around the edge. While that is drying, I thought of one more thing. You know, the Possum Patty, one more thing. I'm going to take these tags out while this dries because they have photos on them. And I don't want any chemicals getting on them. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is the cutest thing. And then the little bird's going to sit right there in the nest. But another thing that I talked about when I started this page was that there is a place you can put a little note in the back. So to turn the little bird into a pocket, what I've just done is I put a little drop of glue under this part where the wing is and under this part here, so when I stick something in over here, it won't slide right out over there, because this is just made from a strip of paper. So it's kind of all open. Do I have another one here? Oh yeah, got a bunch of them. So it's just a scrap paper or a scrap piece of fabric. And when you get it together like this, you can make a little pocket in the back, see, but it would slide out the front. So if you put a little glue right in there, under where the wing is going to be, then that'll make this a pocket in the back. And you could slip a little note in there. And I just want to put the word hope on it. And I must have plenty of scraps here. I'm not sure how big this has to be. So I am just eyeballing it. Piece of thread on there, a little one, a little tiny piece of thread. And write hope. Okay, I still have a little piece of this green metallic thread on the needle. Oh, there's actually another piece over here too. So if I stick the needle through this little piece of thread, I'll take the needle off in a moment, but let's see if I can tie it. Okay, now that I know that's being held there, I can take the needle off. Tie it once around the other way. Like that. So there's my little message of hope. I'm just going to slip it into the back of the bird. And the bird, little Miss Bird of Hope, will go into her gorgeous, gorgeous nest. Well, I've got this page finished. And all my tags. With just 3 of the many birds now that have flown. Maybe I'll get some more pictures of different ones. Well, that's it. I just really wanted to finish this page, and I had this great idea for making a really fun nest, and I just love the way it came out. Thanks for coming along today. Happy junk journaling. Bye-bye.